Hello. All right, what are we talking about today? South Africa. Yeah, so South Africa's been in the news for a while. And lately, I think the tension between the immigrants and the indigenous South Africans is just escalating. And I think I wanted to, you know, um, have a discussion on this. I think in the first instance, I'd like to say that I don't believe that South Africans are xenophobic as per the title. I think it's unfair. It's not right that, you people label a whole nation as xenophobic. I believe South Africans are very nice and loving and caring people, very decent and respectable. Indeed, the country that I come from, Ghana in West Africa, has a very strong and healthy relationship with South Africa at the governmental and local levels, let's say. Yeah. I know there are South Africans that live in Ghana. There are Ghanaians that live in South Africa as well. In South Africa and Ghana does a lot of trading. Okay, just like it does with a lot of other African countries. I know South Africa has a very special relationship with Zimbabwe and other South African. I believe there's SADC, which South Africa is a key member of. South Africa has a very good foreign policy as well in terms of how it relates to other countries on the global stage. Okay, and it's very unfortunate that some people are trying to tarnish the image of South Africa with regards to the tension between South Africa and the immigrants. Okay. Once again, I'd like to say that South Africans are very nice people and very decent and respectable people. And South Africa is a very important and strategic nation within the African Union and within the United Nations and other global you know uh, bodies. So let's come to the substance of the issue. Uh, why people feel the way they do. Okay. Now, a bit of a background. I'd say the if I look at the demographic structure of the people that have immigrated to South Africa and in the scale and numbers in which they have, I think in a way we know what the drivers are, what drives them to to want to go to South Africa. Okay, so historically, the African countries, per their colonial history, will either be Anglophone, that's English, Francophone, that's French, or Portuguese. Yeah. Okay. So if you're from any of the Anglophone countries in Africa and you'll be seeking greener pastures, most Africans tend to want to seek greener pastures. We're never content with our own countries or not want to stay in our countries and work hard to build our countries to what we would like them to be. Okay. We're always wanting to go away. This has caused a lot of brain drain and some go and pretty much that's the end of it. Just a handful return and retire or something like that. Okay. And so we are displaced all over the globe. Okay. So if you're English speaking, you're going to want to go to England or the USA or Canada or Australia or New Zealand, And if you're French speaking African, you probably want to go to France. If you're Portuguese, you probably want to go to Portugal and the likes. Okay. Now, the people that are unable to get visas to go to these countries tend to choose South Africa. Okay. Now, South Africa is one of the most advanced countries in Africa, if not the most advanced. Okay. I'd say probably is the most advanced or most developed by way of infrastructure and services and its standing in the world. Okay. And so it's like next to, you know, the UK, the US, the Canada, as if people can get visas, the place they want to go to is South Africa. Okay. So why don't they go to other African countries? Because they won't leave their countries and go to a country that is comparable to theirs. Okay, they want something much better because they want a much better quality of life. Is that fair to South Africa? No, it's not, because then South Africa becomes overwhelmed. okay, because of the, the influx, okay. It just, it puts the South African system under too much pressure in terms of the provision of housing, in terms of, schools, in terms of healthcare, you know, the the constraints then brings tension. Okay, the constraints then bring tension between the locals and then the immigrant community. And I think what compounds the whole thing is that some of the immigrants don't comport themselves, with civility. There's and some don't uphold the law. They're not law abiding when they're in South Africa. Okay, so this compounds the whole thing. Okay, so me personally, I'll strongly urge immigrants that live in South Africa to abide by the law. Okay, to also conduct themselves in a way that it doesn't bring tension between the locals and the immigrants. Okay, engaging in acts of provocation, whether online or whatever, it just brings a lot of tension. So please, please, let's all live in peace and harmony. Okay. And I also strongly urge the South Africans to be tolerant and patient with the immigrants and try and find a way where the immigrants and the South Africans can integrate. Okay. South Africans should be welcoming of immigrants. Okay. Make them feel at home. Okay. You know, going into their places of business, in vigilante groups and all that and harassing them, it's not proper. Okay. I am strongly for Julius Malema, who has been, you know, campaigning for the reunification of Africa. You know, during the colonial era, there was this what you call balkanization, which is just like basically partitioning the African countries, um, under artificial borders. Okay, so once upon a time we were one people. Okay, and that's where we're headed, and that's why you have the African Union.